Right. There we go. Anyway, people, thanks for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks very much for doing this. It's another introducing, and today we've got an awesome band on we've been rocking with for a while, and it's been great to have them on. They're called Hardwicke Circus. Ross introduced us to him. He's one of our listeners, and he hosts he judges the Friday show, which is Freestyle Friday. And he said you need to check this band out. So we've been playing their music, and it's great to get them on and have a chat with him. So I'll bring him on now, and he can introduce himself. So there you go. Introduce yourself, man.
Hello, I'm Johnny. I sing in the band Hardwicke Circus. Very good to be on with you.
Yeah, seriously, man. Thanks for coming on. I've been looking forward to this. And then when we found out last weekend you was at Glastonbury, that was an absolutely icing on the cake. That was amazing. How did that go?
Yeah, it was incredible. What a spectacular place. It's very hard to describe. We were on at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
Definitely one of the latest gigs we've ever played. And we were playing in the Rabbit Hole, which is this secret bohemian area of Glastonbury where it's full of kind of, scantily clad nuns and all sorts of other things that I daren't talk about right now.
Excellent.
But it was an incredible time. The tent was absolutely rammed. It was full of people that had only recently discovered our music through various different things that have been going on. But there was also some Cumbrians in the house, which was very exciting to see. People singing our songs, getting involved, and it felt like something good was brewing. It was a great time.
Yeah, I bet as well. And obviously you were all over the place. Paul McCartney. I mean, for any band, lots of bands come on here and they will quote the Beatles and they will quote other people and quote the Beatles. For someone like Sir Paul McCartney, my apologies, to request you to be there, that's phenomenal, really. Yeah,
it's fairly mind blowing. I keep saying it's like being invited to see the King or something. It's like we're lost for words really when we think about it. Like a lot of bands, the Beatles, we've watched their videos for years. We've studied them, we've copied them, we've stolen from them, we've done everything. We've tried to emulate the Beatles as well as a load of other bands. But the Beatles really wrote the book, obviously. Paul McCartney. It's fairly incredible to think that us Hardwickes and him are even in the same sentence. No. Never mind playing the same festival. So yeah, what a huge honour to be playing under them circumstances.
That's well, brilliant, and regardless of that, it's your music stands up on its own. But for people to be identifying you, I think it's really good. You've got a very distinctive singing voice, and obviously a very distinctive speaking. When you talk, you've got a very distinctive voice.
Yes.
I was listening to some of your music today. Now, you can take this as a compliment or as an insult if you want, but very distinctive, a bit like Men at Work. The Men at Work voice, vocals,
interesting.
Very, very distinctive. I'm not saying it's the same, but it's got a very very similar feel to it. I really like it, and as soon as you put a track on, you know it's you. You know it's your music. You know what I mean? You can tell it. It's not anybody else. It's you. So.
Well, I've never had any interest in running away from my accent or from. I think it's the whole ethos as a band has been to stick to our roots in a way, be it like musically, but also like geographically. Like we've been in Carlisle for a long time, and we've never thought that actually we might be more successful if we move to another place. We've never thought about chasing someone else's dream.
Yeah.
So and that's all. Also the same when it comes to my singing. I'm from Carlisle and this is my accent, and I get very upset when you turn on the radio and you hear lots of not just singers now, but even a lot of upcoming bands singing in American accents. They have that kind of Midwestern twang, and you're like, you're from Birmingham, or you're from Bolton or Newcastle or even Carlisle. Like, why are you doing that? And it's fairly disheartening because I think there's so much music out there, and ultimately one of the only things that's individual about what you do is your accent and what you put into the song you're performing. It's funny, we've started doing TikTok as well, and I put this video on of us like going to Glastonbury, driving down there, all the hiccups along the way, all the gigs, all the late nights, playing the festival, and I narrated the video. And I had someone comment on it they said, "What is this strange accent?" It's as if there's the first. So I like to think I'm the first Cumbrian muso on TikTok.
Yeah, I think it is. You are right, and it's funny how people you see people. It's like actors, isn't it? You see actors on stage, and then when they're off stage, David Jason's a classic. You see him as Del Boy, and then when you see him being interviewed, like
that's true.
He's got a plum in his mouth. Where's that come from? Do you know what I mean? It's like it's really off-putting, and so it's the opposite to that. Obviously, he's an actor, but you obviously see singers, and they sing, and then when they speak, you go, surely that is not them. That voice doesn't relate to that person that's speaking now. It's a bizarre thing. I mean, I've never lost my accent, and I'm proud to be from Manchester, and I'll stick with it. My lad's grown up in the Midlands, and he takes a mickey out when I say certain words, and he'll emphasise it. But hey, it's just the way. I'm not going to change it for anyone. I'm just me. You know what I mean? So, what we're going to
too right.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, switch up.
No, carry on. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is what we tend to do on this show is we play some videos throughout the show. So,
great.
Got 3 or 4 lined up. Whilst they're on, we won't be on screen, so you're fine. Janice has sent me one that she wants to play. The first one, it's from 2015. Walder, is it? Walder? Is that how you say it?
That's an old track.
Yeah.
So that's the first when we that's a different incarnation of the band in many ways. I think what the band is now has been around 2-3 years with the current lineup. We've had a few changes here and there, but we've settled on something that's allowed us to record our first album, The Borderland, and then since then the At Her Majesty's Pleasure, the live prison album.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
So and moving on from them to thank you. It's very exciting to have, and moving on from them to our albums, we're now on our 3rd record, and a lot of the songs are in that area.
Right.
But this video, Walder, is an older song that I remember when, people were all kind of deciding whether to go to college or sixth form or whatever, and all we ever wanted to do was music, and we kind of went to we booked this studio out. It was well out of our reach, and we went and recorded this song over a couple of days in the summer. And put this video out, and it's been amazing seeing it kind of still stand the test of time, so to speak. People at gigs still request this song, and it's definitely an older track, but let's hear it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see your evolution, where you've come from, where you're going to, and anyway, let's cue the VT for you on Mixcloud. Here it is for you right now.
Great,
awesome, Hardwicke Circus
stuff.
People.
Saturday night, wrapping a pocket and a handful of life. Ain't got no money, no, she ain't got no plans. They call her Walter, the devil's middleman, hit me. Yeah. Her last love was subtle and sweet, but I'm telling you, cut between her teeth, oh yeah. What's going wrong? Rosie said she's kinda awkward, and Molly said kinda cute.
Recording in progress.
But I said I don't have an opinion about you. Coming for you, like she never ever did before. Then got a hip, bow down, legs loose, crocodile 7-4. Sweet angel she can. Up of the heavens galore, and time down, old scout, man, and mid-squeeze at the door. Rolls around the clock at time, nobody knows. A good girl likes to sing, and an actor loves his bow, oh yeah. What went wrong now? Kinda ruthless, her daddy said kinda rude, but I said I don't have an opinion about you. It's coming for you, like she never ever did before. Got a head bowed down, let's lose crocodile 7-4. Sweet angel she can, and up of her heavens galore, and tied down, no sky.
you go, people. Still more of that track. That's awesome. Very blues, Johnny says. I agree. I really like that. And I did mute you because the dogs... Oh, you're unmuted. You're back in the room. Absolutely wonderful.
You could hear the dog, could you?
Yeah, I muted you. The dog was barking away. I thought, that's not on the track. That's on the track. Excellent. Hey, we'll have to get your address off you because we're sponsored by Woof and Brew. We'll send you some Woof and Brew stuff for your dog. We'll get that. We'll get Janice to organise that.
Please do.
Yeah, wonderful. They do posh beer, and they do one called Bottom Sniffer, and they do some posh wine as well for your dogs. It's all you know.
Oh, hold on a second. Wait. I actually have some Bottom Sniffer at hand right now. Actually.
Do you?
Okay, I've got plenty of that in the house.
Awesome. Seriously.
I do. Wait there a second.
Seriously, that's awesome. Well, we're liking this, people. We're liking this. Hey, see?
I actually have some.
We'll have to tell.
Look at this.
Oh, that's the stuff. Absolutely wonderful.
You couldn't write that, could you?
You couldn't write that. There you go. Well, if it's good enough for Hardwicke Circus people, it's good enough. You can get 10% off if you put Dougie Stone 10 in. You get 10% off your next order. I'll get you some stuff.
Oh, that is really good.
I'll get you some stuff sent.
I should get sponsored.
Yeah,
please, I'd love some. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm loving that. We're all over that. So we were introduced you back. That's bloody amazing. It's as if we'd written it. We got introduced to you by Ross. I'm laughing. That's brilliant. By Ross.
That's insane.
And he went to see, and he said he said his favourite track is "Walking on Broken Glass," which I've got lined up. What is your favourite track to sing to or to do?
That's a really good question. I think Broken Glass is definitely up there. What song? I don't know. It's what's exciting at the moment is that we're doing we're playing so many gigs, and we're playing long gigs. We're doing kind of like 2 hours a night.
Yeah.
These gigs, so we're getting a chance to play so many different songs. So obviously, Broken Glass. There's a song called "The Debatable Land," which is on the last track on the first record. A song called Love's Lockdown. There's a couple new songs that we're throwing into the set. It varies every night. And that's kind of what's good at the moment is we're kind of having the chance to play all these songs and change it up a lot. So, you know, as much for the audience thinking, the set is going to be this thing and then it changes and it becomes another thing. For me, singing them, it's really refreshing that, you know, I'm getting different flavors and different colors out of each song when we're singing them. But, you know, it's... songs are what you make them, you know. You can't, and each gig is its own thing, and each, it's like when we played the prisons, you know, the songs and the lyrics resonated very differently inside the jails than they did, say, when you're in a pub or a club or playing with another band. And so when the songs take on a meaning in a certain venue, and you realize that it's having a certain effect, they're the ones that you usually enjoy singing at any given moment. A bit like when the chips are down, when you sing that in jail. When you played it before, it reminded me that when you sing that, the words resonate and the song takes on a new meaning, and that usually becomes the song of the set. Yeah. So it's always a different thing each time. But yeah, Broken Glass is definitely up there.
Brilliant. So, I mean, it's interesting because I was listening to the album today that's in the prison. So how did that come about? How did you end up finding yourself? Because some of the rock and roll back in the day in the States, they played prisons, didn't they? So how did you get into that? Was that something you wanted to do? Or did you get requested to go and sing?
Well, there's a gig we play in Whitstable called the Duke of Cumberland, and it's a great gig. And one of the shows, there was a guy who works in the prisons, a guy called Tim Cronin, a lovely man, who has this initiative to encourage more arts and performance as a means of rehabilitation inside jails. Mm-hmm. And he invited us into Rochester one day. He said, "Do you fancy coming to play as part of this thing I'm doing?" And we all kind of thought, well, none of us have been inside of a jail before, so that sounds like a lot of fun. So we went into Rochester, we played a 45-minute gig, and afterwards we did a Q&A session. And it was the most amazing thing we'd ever done. It was kind of, the reaction from the inmates was like nothing we'd ever experienced in another venue before. These are guys that, even for, say, the less serious crimes, are locked up for near 20 hours a day, with little in the way of exploring new possibilities for their life on the outside. And so when us kind of, you know, skinny, lanky ginger kids from the north of England went into the southern prison, they kind of thought, what the hell's going on here? But when they heard the music, it really resonated. They listened the words took on a meaning, as I say. They got involved. We invited them up onto the stage to sing with us and perform with us, and we really got on each other's side. It was a real two-way connection. It wasn't just us on a joyride going into jails for a bit of good press. It was an incredibly positive emotional experience that really changed the way we kind of see living in the world. And we did a Q&A afterwards, a Q&A where we got the inmates to ask us questions, and they very willingly asked us all sorts of things about being in the music industry, or what it's like to be in a band, or how does it feel coming into jail, or what are the opportunities on the outside. And we were able to engage with them on a very personal level. And once you do that, you realize that actually, you look at all our politicians and our leaders, they should spend time in a jail. It'll humanize you on a level that like nothing else can. And leaving the jail, we travel around in a riot van, and we left so you can imagine what that was like when we drove into jail on a riot van.
Awesome.
So we drove out, and we were getting word from the governor and a lot of the staff that it had such a huge effect on the inmates, on their well-being, on the environment, the atmosphere in the jail following our performance, improved mental health.
Brilliant.
And it that meant a lot to us. And as I say, it was a borderline religious experience. And, we leaving, we thought we've got to do more of this. And then obviously COVID struck, and trying to get back out into the world and getting other gigs in music venues. There's not actually a lot of places for bands to play. We're just musicians. Like we thrive on playing live. That's our lifeblood. So when there wasn't many venues to play, a lot of places had closed down, a lot of places were struggling. We thought, you know what, let's do a prison tour. Let's go inside where there will be an audience and do something that we enjoy doing. And it's some of the best times we've had as a band have been in jail. So we feel very lucky that we've been able to document it in this recording.
I love that, mate. I love that, man, because there's people there I talk about dyslexia and stuff like that, and there's a high in prison. There's a high population of dyslexics in there. And it's because a lot of the time you get ignored because you can't read or write properly or whatever. And the thing with dyslexics, we're very creative, so they make great criminals. Do you know what I mean? They're going to go and do something because they want the same. So I think it's commendable what you've done, that going in there, because your concert could have changed the lives or the future lives of people in there from the experience. Do you know what I mean? You don't know how you affect it. So hats off you for doing that, mate. I think that's I think it's a credit to you and the guys for doing that.
Well, thank you very much. And I completely agree with what you're saying. A lot of the people that are in there are there by no fault of their own, by circumstances that in many cases they were born into, the circumstances that were imposed upon them in a very negative way for other agendas. And that's a real shame to see. And also there isn't facilities, a lot of the jails have been stripped of any cash whatsoever. Other means of caring for, say, the more vulnerable or the people that need protection have been bulldozed down systematically for years. So you've got a situation where there's a lot of people who have all been thrown into one sling for various different reasons, and it's not a useful way of one, destigmatizing jails, but also two, for giving people proper routes out back into the world. And the music playing in the jails kind of demonstrated one small way that arts can have a positive effect on people, and that it can connect people. And what was interesting is it wasn't just the inmates connecting. There was definitely a connection between the officers we'd play in the chapels usually, and you'd have like kind of 200 or so inmates in the middle of the room, and then the officers on the outside of the room, and you could see that the officers and the inmates were having some kind of new connection there. Cool. It wasn't just the inmates that were connected to the music. You could see the officers kind of getting involved, and it was a very really eye-opening thing to witness.
That's good, that, because thinking about that, then that those two separate groups who are put together for various reasons, the prison officers and the prisoners, they've ended up with having a shared connection, haven't they? So after that event, no doubt, did you enjoy the show? Did you like that? What do you think of the band? There'll be something to discuss at the same level, won't they? Which will bring down the barriers, I should imagine.
You're dead right. And for example, we did one jail, and we were performing on like the second or third floor. So to get up there was a lift. We had to put all of our gear in a lift, and we put our gear in the lift. And Tom, my brother, our drummer, he went in the lift with the gear. And 5 minutes pass, and we're thinking, where the hell is Tom got to? Anyways, he gets stuck in the lift, and he's stuck in this prison lift, and we can't get him out. The staff are saying, well, we just don't have an engineer here till... This was a Friday. The engineer was like, we don't have an engineer here till Monday. So we don't know what we're going to do. It was chaos. And we had inmates trying to, break the lift open to get him out the lift. And then we had the rest of the inmates, because the lift wasn't working. We had all the inmates like lift our gear up the stairs to the stage. And It was like an incredible 2 hours of, getting help from the inmates and them trying to break Tom out of a lift. It was incredible. We eventually got our gear set up, and the room, it was in the chapel again. And we got to this point in our set, what we do when the chips are down. And I said, is there anyone out there that wants to join us and sing or rap, juggle, whatever you like? The stage is yours. And there was a group of guys at the back, kind of big lads, who were really looked very close to one another. And at the front of the stage, there was a guy who looked very shy, looked very quiet, looked very distant from the rest of everybody in the room. And we got to this song, and he put his hand up and he said, I'll sing a song. I'll join you for this song. And you could see the inmates and the staff all kind of look at one another thinking, oh, what's going on here? Is this a good idea? So we're there on stage just trying to, read the room, ready for anything. And this guy gets on stage and he performs the most incredible kind of operatic version of a blues song called Born Under a Bad Sign. And it was incredible. It was like the room had just discovered music or something, or like just got their hearing us. It was amazing. It was an incredible moment. Everyone stood up cheering, chanting this guy's name. The prison officers were like clapping, chanting, cheering on. A really wonderful moment. Anyways, the guy sits down, we finish our set, and afterwards we speak to the officers saying, thanks for having us. We'll come back one day. And the officers tell us that this guy that got up to sing, he'd been in jail for 6 years, and he hadn't said a word to anybody, to not the inmates or the prison officers.
No.
And the reason it went off, because that was the first time anybody in the room had heard him speak.
Wow.
And it was just one hell of a moment for that to happen.
Awesome.
And so what a joy to be in that room that afternoon.
That's cool. That's cool. That's wonderful. Bloody hell, mate. What we're going to do, we're going to play Walking on Broken Glass, the video now for everybody out there. So brilliant stories, mate. I'll tell you what, I'm loving it. It's a fantastic experience for you and for them. Anyway, we'll be right back after this.
Great.
Something to live for. It don't always have to be this way. Walking on broken glass, walking. Oh, there must be more to life than this.
the bottom slipper for dogs. Because they do, don't we? And then just drinking out of it.
To grow in symmetry, but growing true. So you tell me you don't believe it. You got something to live for.
Boy, what awesome. Oh, hang on, let me turn that off. Hardwicke Circus, people, walking on broken glass. That's for Ross. That's for you, Rossi, baby. Just for you. It's your favourite, and I'm going to bring him back in the room now. I did mute you again, so you need to unmute yourself if you can hear me. He'll be back. There you go. Yeah, that's wonderful. Back in the room now. We're back here. Excellent, mate. Love that track. I love the sax in that as well. Love a bit of sax.
Yeah, it's good. Andy's a great sax player. He's when we can find him.
Does he go AWOL, does he?
Yeah, our next tour is going to be called Where's Andy? The Where's Andy tour.
Oh, there's a lot of people I used to work with a lot of people like that.
And they're always called Andy. So it's just an Andy thing.
Oh, I tell you what, you're getting a lot of love on chat for going into the prisons and what have you, and we all respect you for that. I'm not just saying that. I think it's an amazing thing, and we need to do stuff. Respect for doing 9% of prisoners are ordinary people, missing home, missing loved ones. That's lovely. That's from Leanne. Think Johnny Cash. That's what I was trying to think about before, because Johnny Cash did that back in the day, went into prisons, didn't he? And had them all bopping and singing, and went down a storm. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love it, mate. Love it. So what have you got planned for the rest of the year after what's just been going on recently? Have you got? I know you've got lots of tracks to put down on an album, haven't you?
We do. We've got an awful lot of songs we're trying to get through at the moment for the next album. So we're busy recording that. We are playing a lot of gigs. We're doing Kendall Calling Festival,
right?
At the end of July. We're doing a big headline gig in Carlisle at the old fire station on Friday the 8th, next Friday. So that's a big kind of hometown celebration. We're also doing a fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Society out west in a place called Maryport.
Right.
We've got a collection of 10 other Cumbrian musicians, and we've learned 20 old blues numbers.
Nice.
And on each song, they're going to join us for a couple. So these are songs that we just love to listen to as a band that kind of inspire us in a way. And so it's our chance to play them. Songs we've never played live before and probably wouldn't usually play in our current set, just because they're kind of old traditional rootsy numbers. Mm-hmm. But songs that they're the kind of most important songs you can ever listen to and learn from. So that's exciting. We're also planning lots of other gigs. Joe King Carrasco, this Tex-Mex rock and roller, he's coming back over to England in September time. So we're going to do some gigs with him. He did some of the prison dates with us, actually.
Excellent.
So there's a lot going on, hopefully supporting a few more bands.
Sounds like it. Sounds like
and just kind of getting the word out there. We're busy. We're busy.
Yeah, and I expect you will be. It's funny, actually, because we have a show called Blues Addiction on a Wednesday night with Rob Levick, and I mentioned at the weekend that we were having you on, and you were on at Glastonbury. He went, that is the bizarrest thing, because he was at a gig. He said, I was at a gig last week, and someone said to me, you've got to check out Hardwicke Circus, which sounds like, it's nuts, isn't it? How things, people are talking. You don't know who's talking about you behind your back, or or who's promoting you, which is fantastic. It's fantastic. So you need to get on with Paul McCartney if he's all over you and he likes you. He needs to come and do a bit of a slot with you, doesn't he? You can't say.
Oh, I know. He's welcome anytime.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. So obviously the Beatles influence you. Who else is he? Because it sounds like you've had a bit of a blues. You've got a varied background with blues and rock and roll and all sorts of sounds, really.
All sorts. Everyone from Jerry Lee, the band, Bob Dylan, Springsteen, Chris Christopherson. Just kind of great songwriters. That's what we like, songwriters. People that write, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Great, simple songs with good melody and good lyric. And a band that plays them, not just the singer stealing the show.
Yeah.
There wants to be a kind of bit of kind of interplay between a group of musicians on stage that forms something very special. And you watch the latest Beatles documentary, or you listen to all them albums, and the reason they sound so good is because yes, the songs are great, but there's a connection there between a group of people playing the music, and that is inspired and developed for us anyways through playing live. That's how all them guys did it, and I think it works. I think that's a formula that people are now abandoning, and I think that will be to the detriment of all good music.
I think you're right, mate. I think you're bang on, because it's where they come from, don't you? And they talk about when they were practicing in the toilet in the house, weren't they? Because they had nowhere else to practice, and the acoustics were good, and they've come from that shared experience and come up from nothing. And there's a link there, lots of bands, and I think that applies to anything in life, wouldn't it? With groups of individuals, if they've got a connection, it works, because they'll stand back to back with each other and push each other forward and lift each other up when things go wrong. And I think you're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, the internet obviously is fantastic in most ways, obviously, but it can also be play an illusion on your mind, because you kind of feel like what you desire is just a grab away, when in fact between your art and getting it out there and actually making something that's good, that takes a little more work than just hoping for a viral load on the internet.
Yeah, and it's short lived. I mean, I do a lot. I go and speak public speaking in sixth forms and schools and what have you. And it's one of the things that I talk about in the Instagram, and the internet's brilliant, because we wouldn't be able to do this otherwise, and it's detrimental because people are seeing this. It drove me insane as a business owner a few years ago, because I was looking at all these things that everyone else was doing. They're so successful doing that, and a lot of it was just a front. There was nothing going on behind the scenes. They were just making out they were doing brilliant, and they weren't doing brilliant. And I think it's got its benefits and it's got its downside, but you can't be meeting. I mean, this interview would be even better if we were together in the same room and we were chatting away, or was outside a festival, or you just come off stage. And I really like doing stuff like that. But this is the next best thing. And you're right, people need to get out.
No, this is great. I just wish I had as good a kind of backdrop as you did. You
to like
to have a kind of good bar. I like the kind of. Where are you?
I've got a log cabin in my garden, which
that's the dream.
I've always wanted this, and it basically, not to bore everybody, because a lot of people already know, but over the last couple of years, I've changed. Where that seat is there used to be a wall where that light is come across. It was a storeroom. And a band wanted to come and do a deck session because sometimes I have sessions outside, but they wanted to come in November. And I went, you can't. Anyway, cut long story short, took the wall down, kerned it all out, and this is where I do get bands coming in here and do some gigs, so it's good. You can get about 4 people in here. It's in there, but yeah, I love it in here. It's out of the way. It's in the garden. I can do my own thing.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good. Thanks very much. Which took a lot of work and took. A bit like you said, it doesn't happen overnight. I started off with a laptop and a microphone, and over the years you just build it up, and buy more and more equipment, and develop your craft, don't you? You just develop your craft. Well, thanks for the compliment.
No, it looks good. Well, where are you based?
In the Midlands, near Coventry.
Oh, great. Well, we'll stop off in your shed sometime.
Well, seriously, you've got just give us a shout anytime, and you can come.
Absolutely.
You can come along and. You can even kip. I've got a pull-out bed here, so you can even kip on there, and a couple of campers.
That's great. That's a luxury. We've stayed in building sites and all before.
I'll even buy you some beer. not bottom sniffer though, because you've got plenty of that.
Well, I'm slightly concerned. Whoever's watching and listening, that I feels like I'm in a dog emporium. I've got bottom sniffer for the dog, and I'm drinking out of a dog mug. So it's all accidental.
Man's best friend. You can't be. I've got some other stuff here as well. I'll send you some of this by Benji. I've got another sponsor who does dog treats. So I'll send you some of that. Oh man. Anyway, enough of that. But you're welcome.
We're easily pleased.
You're welcome anytime. Just drop us a note if you want to come and pop in. You're more than welcome. We can have a chat and a bit of a natter here. Because there's something about you I really like.
Wonderful.
I really like your attitude. Besides, put your music to one side. If I was interviewing as an individual, I think you've got a really good attitude to life and to everything, really. So I think you put that'll come through. That's why it comes through good in your music, I think, because of you as an individual. Excellent. I'm just saying.
Well, thank you. Very kind.
Oh, Ross has said, have I missed the question about the tour van? And you mentioned it before. We always ask the question, what kind of tour van they've got. They've got a riot van, Ross, a riot van, which I think is brilliant. It's not rough where he lives, but he's got a riot van. What made you?
No, we have. We've got kind of 2 modes of transport. We've got kind of a riot van, which is bulletproof and everything.
Wow.
So that's really good, and we can get kind of everyone in there. But our prison tour, we actually a couple of years ago, because with accommodation being so expensive and everything else, we had this idea to do some fundraising gigs and buy a double-decker bus.
Oh, love it.
So we did 3 fundraising gigs, and we bought this, really old double-decker bus from this guy in Essex at 4 a.m. Rang me up the night before, right, we can sell the bus now. So I drove down to Essex, picked this bus up at 4 a.m. in the morning. And for 20 years, it had been used as a kid's school bus.
Right. And
so you can imagine the filth, the grime, that every inch of it was covered in. And we drove it back up to Carlisle as, the door, the big kind of front door that was obviously operated by the air. It was all flat. So the door kept opening on the motorway. So I'm driving it north, trying to hold this big front bus door in with a bit of rope. And it was a great moment. Anyways, we got it to Carlisle and we renovated it during lockdown. Obviously, when everyone became kind of DIY gods, we of went in the bus, stripped 70 seats out of it, put like 10 beds in it, a little kitchen in the bottom of it, and got it roadworthy. So we had this double-decker bus, and we thought, let's take this on the prison tour. So we had it all ready. We drove it down south, but insurances and everything else obviously were a little difficult. So we had this bus in the south of England, thinking, where can we park it? And then we'll just drive to the prisons in our van. So we'll kind of like ferry off the bus and sleep on it. So we got the bus to London and then needed to park it somewhere. Then we remembered maybe like 4 years ago, we played at somebody's wedding in the south of London, and they had a decent sized garden. So we ring them up and say, can we park our bus in your garden for like a month and a half? And they said, yeah. So we parked the bus in their garden for a month and a half. And they were absolutely wonderful. Like the people, the Chris Isles, Louise and Gary, absolutely beautiful people, so kind, so generous. They adopted us for a month and a half, and we parked it on there. We lived in it. And this was during winter last year. There was a storm. I don't know, what was the storm that was on then? Storm. I don't know,
someone's
Isaac,
name on it, yeah.
And And so the storm was on. It was freezing cold. We all had the flu really badly.
Oh, no.
Joe King Carrasco from Texas was over here. And obviously he's just used to the roaring heat all the time. So he came over with his partner and they stayed on the bus. And it was, you can imagine the scenes, you know, all 10 guys and 2 Texans snoring in the south of London at midnight and someone's bus parked in their garden. And it was a fantastic time. And after each prison gig, we kind of went back on the bus and recorded some songs, demoed a lot of the new album, wrote a lot of new songs. And it was a really special time. So there's a lot going on all around.
That's brilliant. There's brilliant. There's a show I watch on the TV and they renovate all buses and do different things. But yeah, you can't beat a double-decker bus. Loads of space as well in this. Fantastic. Great idea. Great, brilliant. Love it. You've got some stories, I can tell. I'm just wondering what to do because I've got another track lined up, but I'm just conscious of the time as well. But I want to get your latest track out, which is the Colour Is Everything. What I've got lined up is Let's Make New Mistakes. What's that all about? That's from 2021.
Yep.
Is there a story behind it?
Well, that's a song. It's on. There is kind of. I think the slogan for the song came about when Andy, our sax player, the guy that's always disappears, we were in one jail and cut a long story short, Andy ends up crashing our riot van into the prison gymnasium. So we said, Andy, let's make new mistakes, shall we, mate? And that's kind of what the song gets dedicated to.
Oh, bloody
so this
brilliant.
is Let's Make New Mistakes.
Well, let's cue the VT. We'll be right back after this. Hardwicke Circus, people. Awesome.
Lay your head next to mine. I'm trying. Yes, I'm trying. Speak slow, don't talk so fast. Let's make it last. Let's make it last. I might not be everything you want me to be. Open up your eyes, you will see. Come tomorrow, it's a brand new day. Let's go, honey, let's make new mistakes. Move your lips next to mine. I'm trying. Yes, I'm trying. Hold my body like a drug. It's not enough, not enough. Honestly, the things you do to me, you don't know what's real till it's gone. Want me to be. Open up your eyes, you will see. Come tomorrow, it's a brand new day. Let's go, honey, let's make new mistakes. We can crash the car into the sea. Burn down the house, look for you and me. Quit our jobs and run away. We can go I'll be everything you want me to be. Open up your eyes, you will see. Come tomorrow, it's a brand new day. Let's go, honey, let's make new mistakes. We can crash the car into the sea. Burn down the house for you and me. Quit our jobs and run away. Let's go, let's make new mistakes.
make new mistakes, but don't crash your car into a prison gym. Don't do that. It's been done already anyway. I love that track, mate. It's awesome. Awesome. I've not muted it, have I? No, there you go. Yeah, love it. I think he's muted himself. Yeah, that is brilliant. It's good, that. It's really uplifting, that track. I love it. It's full on. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's a great one to play live.
Yeah, it is. It just gets your tracks just get you, don't you? You know when you get a good band and they start playing the music, it's like straight from the first few bars. Oh yeah, I'm liking this, and that's one of them. Love it, man. I'm just looking at the questions, see if you've got any questions on it.
Thank you.
So Sean Hubble's on from Woof and Brew. If you didn't know Sean, you'll see it later. He's one of your customers. He's got loads of bottom sniffer and everything. So there you go. So you better check it out later on. Leanne, Kirk, you had your first snog. What was she talking about here? You have your first snog on the back seat. You didn't have one on a tour bus. Oh, I don't even know what she's going on about. I'm just seeing if there's any other questions on here as well. So now, how are you still alive after a prison visit? They're not all, they're not all ruthless, are they? Do you know what I mean? They're nice people, aren't they? Just normal people, just in prison. Excellent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's I think it's just like playing any venue. I joke when I play a lot of venues, and I tell people I've been playing in prisons. If it's a seated venue, I say it's just like being here. And sometimes people think it's hilarious, and other times people just want to think, I want to punch him. I'm not an inmate in any jail. But
excellent.
But no, it's honestly, the prisons are some of the most welcoming venues we've ever played in.
Yeah, well, I appreciate one. They're not doing anything else, are they? So, have you still got the bus then, the double decker, or has that been?
Yeah, the bus is still knocking about, absolutely. But hopefully we'll have it on the road again for another something down the line.
Yeah, because it's great that to have a base to move away from as long as you've got somewhere to park it. So next time in London, you need to get all the lists and say, "Oi, can we put it in Buckingham Palace? Just have it in the front there, London bus. It'd look smart. That it'd suit it, wouldn't it?"
I know she would love it. I'm sure she'd love it.
And you never know. You might get asked to play at the garden party next. You never know what's going to happen. What's going to happen? Oh, awesome, mate! Awesome. I think there's a lot going to go on for you the next few months for sure. So are you?
Thank you.
You've had a lot of, I noticed on the weekend as well, you had a lot of, was on daytime TV, you've been in loads of papers, you're all over the internet, splattered everywhere. Have you? Has the phone not stopped ringing? Yeah,
it's rang non-stop, which is, I can't complain at all. I mean, this is all I've, being in a band that's known for doing what we do is a special thing. And I think, the fact that it's now resonating with people all over and people are interested, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, everyone's looking for it's a very difficult industry to be in, and if you're doing it and you're enjoying it, that's one thing, and that's great, and I keep on doing it. But to break through and actually get some, get a decent following and get some notoriety is really difficult nowadays, isn't it? And hopefully those little sparks.
It's hard, but it's been very rewarding because it's been like on our terms. We've done hundreds and hundreds of gigs, like 800 gigs over the last couple of years in every known venue we can get our hands on. And, now that we've had some larger, exposure, all the people that from the gigs that we played at are on board with us. Mm. And so it's not just like we're grabbing at a load of unknown people, where, of course, we want, we welcome new fans. But it's been really nice to see that a lot of the fans and people that we've played for in unknown parts of the country, beyond the back end and beyond, in places that bands don't usually get to play in, have resonated and are still with us. And the fact that now there's other people joining our kind of base is very exciting.
Yeah, I think it is, and it's like try to create a movement, isn't it? I mean, we want people on board with us, and we just keep doing what we're doing because we love doing what we're doing, and the more and more people that see it, then the better for us and better for everybody else, isn't it? That's what it is.
Absolutely, yeah, we're all over it for sure.
Yeah. So, what sort of advice would you give to someone? Some young chap there, a few of them. We want to set a band up. What advice would you give to them? Don't do it. Or is there any pills of wisdom?
Yeah. It's all about the songs. It's all about the music. Like if you focus on the songs, that's what ultimately connects with people. There's too much bullshit around everything else. It's about what it should be or chasing things that you're never actually going to be happy with. If you have a collection of songs that are good, they will resonate. That's the ammunition. And if you don't have an arsenal full of it, you're pretty scuppered down the line.
I like it. You bang on. So you going
and
back...
also gigs. Sorry, and also gigs like gig. You know, don't just don't think it's going to be easy. It's a progress kind of mission that you're on. You know, you want to learn, you want to develop, and you want to do it ultimately because you love playing music. And so long as that's at the focus of it, then you'll find that you'll land on your feet. I hope.
I like that. You're dead right. And no one. It makes me laugh when people say, "Oh, these were an overnight success," or "They were an overnight success." They've probably been doing stuff for the last 10 years, and then all of a sudden they get catapulted to fame and fortune. They go, "Oh, they're an overnight success." No, they're not. They've done all that hard work. They've done all.
That's right.
The legwork.
And it's like. It's like when, people say, so how long does it take you to write a song or something? And you say, well, it takes 6 months and 5 minutes. And you mean that like you've spent 6 months or a long time kind of getting in the position to write a song, or getting in your headspace. It takes a couple of days and then 3 minutes, and then you actually sit down and you've loaded your brain up with enough inspiration and enough music and enough experience. Like ultimately that's what kind of songwriting is. It's full of three things in my head. It's full of creativity, imagination, and songwriting. And if you're missing any one of those aspects, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And so you have to surround yourself with all them things at all times.
I think it's fascinating how people can write songs and write different songs. Do you know what I mean? I just find it that whole process fascinating. How someone can take an idea or an experience and then turn it into a song, put a melody to it, and create something that we've not heard before. I think it just blows my mind. I just don't know how you do it. I don't know how people do it. I just think it's amazing what people can do, how they can songwrite.
Yeah, absolutely. It amazes me as well, but I don't really want to know how to do it because I think I won't know how to do it if I ever learn the formula. That's the secret, to not really know. And I think that's very true of a lot of things in creative things, like whether you're songwriting or making films or painting or whatever. Like there's a certain element of naivety that's very important to allow you to do something that's special. As soon as you kind of think you know what you're doing, you're kind of fucked because you kind of have an idea of what things should be, when in fact you're meant to create something that's new and that's non-definable.
I think that's right.
But at the same time, when people,
sorry, go on. No,
but at the same time, when you hear it, you think you know where that came from. So it's a very elusive kind of thing.
Yeah, you're right. My wife's a designer and she's got an art studio down the garden. Years ago, it's like, just produce what you want to produce rather than thinking what the market wants or what people want. But just produce what you want. You know what I mean? It's, at the end of the day, it'll be special then. It'll have art and soul in
it. Too right. I mean, as soon as you look at the market or the industry and you think, oh, that's what people are doing now, you're already behind the curve. Like you can never, you're never going to chase that.
No,
you can only do what you want to do.
Yeah,
and you're not. I mean, I'm not trying to reinvent the fucking wheel here. I just want to write good songs, and that's all I'm in it for.
I love it. Same as me. All I want to do is interview people, interesting people, and come up with something that people are going to enjoy. Because at the end of the day, I just want to have a conversation with someone, and for people to go, yeah, well, listen to that. That's exactly what it's all about, and I'm just going to keep on doing it. So
absolutely,
it's been wonderful, chat. I think we're on the time, aren't we? Definitely on the time. So what we've been asking artists to do, if you don't mind, for us, is doing an artist drop so we can play it on the shows. So would you introduce yourself and say you're listening to Duggystone Radio? Could you do that for us, and we'll turn it into a jingle?
Absolutely. My name's Johnny. I sing in Hardwicke Circus, and you are listening to Duggystone Radio.
Thanks very much for that. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. So where can people find you if they want to get hold of you? Is there any messages you want to send before I let you get on with your day? And we're gonna finish off with your last track, The Colour Is Everything. In Everything, sorry. That's what we're going to end the show with. So.
Good.
Is there a story behind this?
Yeah, I think there is actually. So it was my girlfriend's birthday, and we'd kind of done the whole present card malarkey, and we were kind of a bit fed up with it, to be honest, between both of us. And I thought, well, what can I get her for her birthday? And I found this old framed photo of us both, and I thought I'd write this message on the back of it for her, and I'd give her it framed. And I sat down, and I didn't really know what I was going to write, but I just wrote, "You are the color in everything," and out came this poem, essentially. And I thought when I'd finished it, geez, this is quite good. I should maybe write a song around it now, and put some music to it. So I gave her that for her birthday present, and that's essentially where the song comes from.
That is wonderful, mate, and it's a great story, that, and that's what I like when you find out what a song is about, and certain songs, it changes your perspective of that particular song, and that's what it's about, and people will listen to this with new ears, I'm sure. Well, it's been absolutely
well.
Wonderful.
I hope she. Go on. I hope she likes it. She tells me she does, but who knows?
She's got to, hasn't she? I'm sure she'd tell you if she didn't like it. Come on, I'm sure she'd tell you if she didn't like it.
You never know.
I doubt it.
You'd hope so.
Well, no, but how nice is that? Someone's, I think the best gifts that you can give to people are not like that. If someone bakes you a cake or writes you a song or does you a painting and gives it to you, that to me is worth more than, it's not cost you anything in monetary value, but it's part of you. And I think those gifts are they're priceless. They're worth more than you can go and spend in the shops. So if she doesn't appreciate it, I'm sure she does. I'm sure she's got to, hasn't she? She's got to. She's got to. She's probably one of your biggest fans.
I'm sure. I think she does.
Yeah, excellent. Well,
no, she is. Don't put me in a corner here, Kirk.
I'm not putting you in any corner, man. I'm just saying. I'm sure she loves her. She's probably your biggest fan.
No, she does. No, she definitely does.
Excellent, mate. Well, I've absolutely loved every minute of chatting to you. I could chat to you.
Been a pleasure.
Chat to you for hours. I think you're a very intriguing individual. You've got a very distinctive voice. I think your music is brilliant. And thanks for affording me the time and coming on Duggystone Radio. It's been wonderful to chat.
No, thank you for having me. A real pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm going to let you get on with your day, and we're going to finish off with this. I'm going to play this track, and we'll speak to you soon. Don't forget, you're welcome here anytime, man. So we're talking to Hardwicke Circus. Mate, it's there behind you, ready to go. I better pause now. I'm going to let you on your day. Right, we're going to leave you to it. I'm going to get this track rocking. We'll speak to you soon. Did you want to say something?
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, mate. Anytime. It's been an absolute pleasure. See you soon.
All the best.
Right, let's get the track playing. How good was that, people? I think I cut him off then. Didn't mean to.
What was it you wanted? Babe, I can't do that. I am the dealer. All you must do is ask. If I lost your love, the sun would lose its light. Don't plan on dreaming on some space satellite. I've made up my mind, give myself to you. You are the color in everything, the poison on my pillow, the tremor on my lips. You are the color in everything, the writing on my window, the song your love, the sun would lose its sight. The crops would ruin, the sailor walks home tonight. I've made up my mind, give myself to you. You are the color in everything, the poison on my pillow, the tremor on my lips. You are the color in everything. La 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 la, la 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la. On my pillow, the tremor on my lips. You are the color in everything, the writing on my window, the song I'm yet to sing.
Telling you what, I enjoy every single interview I do, and that was an absolutely brilliant one. Very, very interesting guy. Thanks to Ross for introducing us to the band and getting us the show. But I think he's got stories and stories and stories on it. And to think that we're sponsored by Woof and Brew, and he pulls a bottle sniffer up, which is absolutely, you couldn't write, could you? It's as if I'd planned it. Maybe I did. But thanks very much. That's another Dougie Stone Radio introducing and interviewing some amazing bands that we know that you should be listening to. We've been playing them before they were on Glasgow, but for Paul McCartney to appreciate them and get them on there is phenomenal. If you're watching live on Mixcloud, Dan Evans is coming up for the best reggae show on the planet, so stay tuned, don't leave it. He's been pestering me going, when you coming off? I want to get on. Anyway, until next time, this has been Dougie Stone Radio introducing. I'm out of here, people. I'm out of here.